Good afternoon, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana, and I am here in my Beehive studio this afternoon. I have been talking about the Blended Seasons bundle all this week, and today is my last video using this bundle. It's going to be a fancy fold card. I have shown you different cards that I've done this week, and yesterday we did a really cute box, and today we're going to do a card that actually matches the box we did yesterday, but it's fancy fold, so that's kind of fun. It's this card right here. I'm actually going to show you a version. I'll open it up in a second. There's not enough room on the screen right now to open it up, but I'm going to be doing a slightly different version of this card with different paper, just to show you how you can use under the mistletoe paper, and almost any pattern will work. So I show you this card, but I'll show it to you with another pattern. So I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to show you how to do this card. If you are watching this right now on my Facebook page, I might be live and I might not be live, but if you're watching this on YouTube, it's definitely not live, but please feel free to put a comment in the comment section. If you have a question, I go back and I answer them. So if you are live with me right now, just type in your question in the Facebook video comments area, and just let me know what your question is. Sometimes I might say something, an incorrect product name, surprise, or I might do something you might not understand how I did it. So that's neat. If you're live, then you can give me feedback right away and you can let me know. So anyway, I'm going to turn this around. Oh, and just one more thing. This product is that I'm using today is only available while supplies last. So if it runs out, you won't be able to get this product anymore. This is August 2018 product, but it's still available only while supplies last. So let me turn this camera around. There's my view today. There's a kayaker about to go by. You can kind of see it maybe in the top corner of your screen. We get a lot of kayakers come by here on the river because there's a kayak rental place just, I don't know if you can call it a block, but a block or two away. So we get kayakers coming by, and I just love it because it's so colorful, usually reds, oranges, and yellows. So that's always really fun. So let me turn this down to my place. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you love my view. All right, so here's the card, and you open it up, and so it's kind of got this frame, and this piece kind of opens up like this. And to close it again, now this is a little bit like the frame, if you don't stick it in quite right, it can be a little bit tricky. It's not hard, like you can either turn it like this or you can just make sure that you follow along on the skinniest part, but it is able to close fairly nicely, and it gives you that kind of different fold or different opening because it opens in the center and these come apart, which I think is kind of cool to have like a different opening and how it just kind of frames together like that. So just let me close this up, arrange the bow right back. So I'm going to do this with a different designer series paper. I like to use my Simply scoring tool. So I've got that. You're going to need a card base. I kind of like to use Whisper White because then any of the designer series paper will match perfectly. I've got a piece that's cut 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches. I'm going to put the long side up at the top of my scoring board, and I'm going to score at the 2 3/4 inch mark and the 8 1/4 inch mark. Now, if you're watching this, if you did not write that down, no worries. In the description of this video, you can just go in and click on the link to my blog post, and all the measurements will be written out for you there, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, so we've got our piece scored, and now we just need to fold it along the score line, creating that center opening instead of having the side opening. So I'm just using my bone folder to smooth down that fold. And now we're going to take some of the Under the Mistletoe Designer Series paper, you'll need 2 pieces. If they have, this pattern's a very busy pattern, so it doesn't matter if it matches up. If you have a pattern that has, you know, kind of, you know, a pattern that you want to match up, you can match it up, but just keep in mind that only a little tiny portion of that pattern is going to show, so it might not make a big difference. But if you start off with a whole piece, so if you cut this and you want to start off with a whole piece and then cut it in half. So I started off with 5 1/4 by 4, and then I cut it in half. So each piece is 2 5/8 inches by 4 inches. Then I'm just going to take some Tombow. You want to use a light bead because this is paper and you don't want too much glue with that. And I'm just going to stick this along my fold. I want to make sure it's centered. That's pretty good. And then I'm going to come along and do this piece. Now you might wonder why I didn't use this a very pretty back piece of the paper. Because we're going to be doing this centerpiece that has a lot of design in it, I didn't want it to compete. It's not good when you have too many good things on one card, because you don't want to compete with your focal point. You want to have a focal point, and then everything around the focal point is kind of, you know, just kind of highlights the focal point. So there is the gate, full part of the card. Now I need to bring in my big shot. All right, so I've got my magnetic platform down and a cutting plate down, and first we're going to create the frame for the card. So I'm going to take a piece of shaded spruce. We're going to use the Blended Seasons bundle for this. Let me just bring this in for a second. The bundle comes with the framelets, which are called the Stitch Seasons framelets. So you get all of these pieces here. And the Blended Seasons stamp set are these 2 stamp cases that make up the Blended Seasons stamp set. And this stamp set is great because it has kind of all occasions on it. So if you didn't want to make this as a Christmas card, you could use the flowers or the leaves and turn it into a card for a different season or a different occasion, like thank you, or you could use the bells to make it into like a wedding type card. So there's a lot of options with a stamp set, but it's only available while supplies last. So if you want it, don't wait. These framelets, I'm going to need the largest one to create the frame, just centered on my piece, and the middle one. Did I mention that this color was shaded spruce? I know it was on the tip of my tongue, but I'm using shaded spruce cardstock, and you just want to make sure it is centered. The middle framelet here needs to be centered into the larger one. When that looks good, you're just going to place this on top, the cutting plate, and I'm going to run this through, and this will create the frame for our card. So the nice thing about this particular, let me grab my framelit one more time. This particular framelit set is it does stitching on both sides of the cut. So you'll notice once you've got the frame, you've got stitching on both sides, which is really cool. Then I have this extra piece. I don't need it right now, so I could use it on another card. And then we're going to come in with a piece of Thick Whisper White. You will want to use Thick Whisper White for this because it is actually part of the card that needs to move. So I'm going to take the middle framelit, not the largest one, the middle one, and I need to cut my focal point layer. Just run that through real quick. And then we've got all the die cutting done. This card is a fancy fold card, but it is not a hard card. It's got pieces on it, but it's not that hard. All right, so let's stamp on our focal point layer. I'm going to use Smoky Slate. And hello everyone that's joining me. This one, I'm going to use the Holly from the Blended Season Stamp Set, and I'm going to stamp it in Smoky Slate. And you'll notice that it's kind of got a curvature to it. This kind of follows along the edge of the label we just cut. So it's kind of got a skinnier end and a longer end. So the skinnier end will go towards the edge. So I'm inking that up, and then I'm just going to hover it over so I can just see the stitching, and then I'm going to stamp it down. I'm going to turn it around, making it easier for me to stamp. You could also turn the stamp around, and I'm going to do the top. All right, so then let's get out the Poppy Parade ink pad. And because I have Poppy Parade Stampin' Blends right now, that's why I'm using the Poppy Parade ink. Even though Real Red is the color of red in the paper, but Poppy Parade and Real Red are a little similar. Poppy Parade is just a little brighter, so I feel like I can use either one for this card. So I'm going to stamp, this is my Merry Christmas. I'm just going to ink that up, and I'm going to stamp it in the center of my label like that. Okay, so now we need to add a little bit of color because this would not look very good. So I'm going to show you how I did the coloring on this. I'm going to take my lighter Stampin' Blends, and we'll just do this big holly leaf down here at the bottom. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to hit my leaves just a bit with the lighter brush tip. Just along here. And then I'm going to come in with my dark with the bullet tip, and I'm just going to pretend that the light is coming from above. So I'm just going to kind of hit the bottom of the holly leaves just a wee bit with that marker. I'm not even going to hit the vein of the leaf. I'm just going to hit the bottom, and then I'm going to come in with the bullet tip of my light green. And I'm sorry, I probably didn't mention I'm using Granny Apple Green. Granny Apple Green, yes. So many new color names, and I'm like, it's so hard to remember them all. So this one's Granny Apple Green, and I'm just blending that dark line out a little bit. And so it's just going to have just a little bit of blending going on, so you can kind of see a light to dark. So that's how I would do all of my leaves, top and bottom. And then I'm going to take the bullet tip of my light Poppy Parade and just come in here and do my little berries like that. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, I think I did the light on my sample card. I just, it looks a little light. You could either use the dark or the light Poppy Parade. I am using light here. Then one more thing I want to hit, these little sprigs that come up here, I'm going to use the bullet tip of my Smoky Slate and just come in and just hit the tips of those. You could leave them white as well, but I'm going to hit them with a little Smoky Slate. And then you would go along and you would complete coloring both the top and the bottom. So you can see the shading I did right there. And then when you're done, you have a piece that looks like this. So let's bring in my card base again, and we need to assemble this. So the trick with this is you're gluing only halfway onto the card. If you glued all the way onto the card, you're going to glue your card closed, so you don't want to do that. There is a nicer side to the stitching. So this side that it cuts into looks a little bit better than the back side. So I'm going to flip this over to the back side. And the nice thing about these particular framelits is they have this point in the middle. And that is such a good reference point for everything that I'm doing for the box I made yesterday and for the card today. So I know exactly what the halfway point is. So when I go to put Tombow on this, I am just putting it on halfway, just to the point, or just not quite to the point. Okay, So then I'm going to flip this around and I'm going to put this on the card. The points are going to go right down the center, and you want to have it centered on the card, top to bottom, and you're just centering that, and you're just smooth it down with your finger like that. So you see, I have not glued my card shut, which is a very good thing. So I'm just going to test this. It should fit in here perfectly. Okay, great. So now I'm going to pop it back out. And now, because we've glued this side, we're going to put glue on the opposite side. On the side that is not sticking down, that's where you need to put the glue for the label. So to make it easy on myself, I'm just going to use the frame as a guide. I'm kind of keeping it pinned down with my fingers. I'm going to come along and I'm just going to put glue on the inside piece right here, down here, and a little bit on the inside. I'm not going all the way to the edges because if the glue squishes out, I don't want it adhering my frame accidentally. So then I'm just going to stick my frame piece right in the center. This way you'll know your piece is exactly centered according to how you put the frame on. If it's slightly crooked, it will still work because it's going to work with how you stuck it on, not how I stuck it on. So then you should be able to open the card. Uh-oh. Okay, good. That frame was just sticking a little bit. Okay, so good. Let me close that back again. And then we're going to take a little teeny tiny red bow. This is the Real Red Solid Ribbon. It's 1/8 of an inch wide, and it's just the perfect little ribbon to stick on here. It actually ties quite nicely too. I'm going to use a mini glue dot, stick the knot on the mini glue dot, and then I'm going to come down and add it to the bottom of my frame. Kind of manipulate it a little bit. Okay, and there is the finished card, and here is the card that I did earlier. So you can see you could probably use any of the paper out of the under the mistletoe pack, so that's really cool. If you still haven't gotten the bundle and you need to get it, I have a host code going on my Stampin' Up store. So if you use this host code this month and you get the season's bundle, it's over $50. So you can purchase it, and then I will send you a roll of this beautiful glittered organdy ribbon in September, and as my special gift to you for the month. And also, Stampin' Up has a promotion going on this month. For every $50 you spend, you can get a coupon to use in September. So that is the cool thing about ordering this month. It is a limited time only. I'm going to just scroll back real quick and see if I have any questions. No one ever asked me any questions. Well, actually, I should not say that. Yesterday, someone asked me an excellent question about the Stampin' Blends. Oh, there's a question from Darlene. Thank you. I have a question. How is the Sizzix Big Kick compared to the Sizzix Big Shot? So the Big Kick, I believe, I would have to look this up, Darlene, and I will post this to you. We don't sell the Big Kick, so I'm not an expert on the Big Kick, but I believe they are the same type of machine, and you can use the same dies through them. I will have to double check on that though, because I am not 100% certain, but I know I think I've had a similar question before, but there's a bunch of different varieties out there, so I just want to make sure that I have that, but I think you can use either one. And hello, I have someone all the way from Denmark. Oh, welcome, welcome. Okay, so Darlene asks, what other accessories can you use with your Big Shot? Well, one of the accessories that I recommend is getting the magnetic platform, and it comes with a platform, so don't think that you can't use the Big Shot right out of the box. You can definitely use it right out of the box. It comes with a platform that you can use for both embossing and die cutting. So to start off with, you don't need to get anything else. Later on, as you do more die cutting, I really love the magnetic platform because it helps the dies kind of stay in place. Without it, you have to be a little bit more careful when you're putting your plates on the cutting plate. They're your magnetic dies because they might shift around a little bit. So I do recommend that. Stampin' Up! Also sells a die brush, which is nice if you're using those intricate dies. I don't have it right here, but I also recommend that. And let me think, I can't think off the top of my head if there's anything that I use with great regularity other than my magnetic platform. Oh, and we do sell silicone mats now, and I haven't used them all too much yet, but they are wonderful for adding impressions of things onto your base, and they're not too expensive, so that might be something else you would want to consider. Okay, let me turn my camera around for a second. Now you get to see my ceiling, which is not too much fun, but so all this week I've been, oh, you know what? I didn't even show you how cool it is that, I don't know if you can see, if I can hold these up in the camera, but look at my box from yesterday and my card from today. Look at, they kind of match. So that's cool. It's the card you could use to give the box. So it's a nice little matching set that you can do. So, and as well, I did so many other cards the other day with this blended seasons of framelits and the stamp set. So it is a really great all-purpose set. The framelits are so useful. I love having those shapes, and I love that they nest. It's neat for frames, it's neat for making boxes. It just looks nice on the front of a card. So I do recommend this bundle. So I hope you've enjoyed all the projects that I've made for you this week. And of course, you can go back and watch this video again or all of them on my blog. I will have them all posted there. All the previous ones that I have done are on my blog already. And this video will be loaded up onto my blog later on today. So I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and I will see you back here next week. Take care. Bye-bye.